Police are investigating an attack on a synagogue here in Berlin. They say 2 people threw bottles filled with flammable liquid at the building. Chancellor Olaf Scholz has vowed to fight anti-Semitism on German soil. Authorities are stepping up security at Jewish institutions.
In the heart of Berlin, the Jewish community woke up to the news they had dreaded. In the night, they were targeted in what police are calling an attempted arson.
I feel very threatened. I feel the atmosphere is extremely escalated. Jews feel like they can be attacked any time.
As if to underline that point, police arrested a man shortly after the attack who approached the synagogue screaming anti-Israel slogans. He was later released.
It's a pure rage, uncontrolled rage, and desire to be part of big movement against the Jews. And that's what scares me.
Across Berlin, authorities are on high alert. On Tuesday, police officers clashed with demonstrators in a neighborhood with a large Arab community. Men threw stones, bottles and fireworks at police, who used water cannons to disperse the crowd. Elsewhere, police formed a protective shield around the Holocaust memorial after a pro-Palestinian crowd gathered nearby to vent their anger after an explosion at a hospital in the Gaza Strip. The head of the Office for the Protection of the Constitution is warning the situation could get even worse.
It is indeed the case that the radicalization is progressing. The emotionalization of people with Palestinian backgrounds too. Although I don't want to put them all under general suspicion, I'm talking about people from Islamist groups. And depending on how the situation in Israel and the Gaza Strip actually develops, it may be that the mood heats up even more.
Back at the synagogue, police have put up restrictions around the area. In Germany, attention is now shifting to intensifying security around the centres of Jewish life.
Let's take this straight to DW political correspondent Benjamin Alvarez, who's joining us from our studio here in Berlin. Benjamin, there has been an increase in anti-Semitic attacks in Germany. Is there a sense that authorities are doing enough to protect the Jewish community here?
That's right, there has been a worrying increase between October 7th, so the day when Hamas carried out the terrorist attacks against Israel, until October 15th. There have been more than 200 anti-Semitic incidents in Germany, according to a new report from the Department for Research and Information on Anti-Semitism. Not all of them are attacks like the one that happened last night when these 2 men hurled through these Molotov cocktails at a Jewish synagogue here in Berlin. These incidents happen on social media platforms, at school, at work. And this new report points out that those affected are often not even in a position to avoid these potential threatening situations without hiding their Jewish identity. And that's why, along with an increased police protection that we already saw shortly after this terror attack, symbolic statements are also so important. If we think, for example, of German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier, who visited a synagogue, Interior Minister and Nancy Faeser, who said that the protection of Jews, of Jewish citizens in Germany is a top priority, a high priority for the government. And in that line, we also see the government's efforts to target organizations run, for example, by Hamas sympathizers, banned groups like the Samidun network that celebrated these terror attacks against Israel by handing out sweets in southern Berlin. Just some examples of what politicians are doing, and we can expect that after this attack, there's also an increase of police protection of Jewish institutions.
In recent days, authorities here in Germany have banned several pro-Palestinian rallies. How have they justified that, considering the constitutional right to protest and freedom of speech?
That is indeed a difficult balance that they have to find. On one side, the right to protest that you mentioned, on the other side, grounds of public safety. So if there are fear that at certain protests there will be incitement, there will be hate speech, or also the denial of the right of existence of Israel. Banning protests is considered the last resort. We have seen clashes with police. Yesterday we also saw clashes, are seeing clashes with police today in Berlin as authorities are moving to break up these gatherings. Some of them are spontaneous, quickly broken up by police, and only a few hours ago police here in Berlin spoke of a heated atmosphere in Neukölln, a district in southern Berlin. He said that fireworks and stones were thrown at riot police. But if we come back to the peaceful protest, it is really a difficult balance that they have to find, because every protest is analyzed separately. And some, like the Palestinian envoy in Germany, told us that it is unwise and inappropriate to try to restrict this pro-Palestinian protest because, as he said, most of them are also against a war, against violence and against attempts to violate international law.
That's DW's Benjamin Alvarez. Thank you so much.